I was looking for some little more information on silver and something a little bit more out of the ordinary. This article I found very interesting because I knew when silver hit a top, it didn't hit it that long. So I went to look back and I said to myself, really, how much did the price explode when it hit that top of almost $50? It only took a couple months. It tripled in 3 months, and it fell like a rock. And you got to remember this one thing. I don't think silver is the most volatile thing in the world, but some traders call it the devil's metal for that reason. The devil's metal, because it'll throw you off. You can't tell what's going on. This article is actually an older article, March 25th, 07. And they're saying they're not giving any kind of financial advice here or anything like that, but I'm paying attention to this carefully because there's a lot of people, they're selling silver, they're selling BS on silver. I guess that's what they're doing, but I thought this was very important. They're saying the fact is that when silver begins to outperform gold by a factor of 1.80 or more, the bull market in question is about ready to take a rest, sometimes for a long time. And that's what we saw earlier this year. So I think the really smart people, I questioned, how the heck did Eric Sprott know when to get out? But he might have been looking at something mathematically. I'm suspicious of everybody, and I know people can have inside information. I wouldn't know if he had or not, but it could have been a mathematical thing too. People are into silver. They're too sold on it, and it's when it comes time to flip it, I think a lot of people are going to have a hard time getting rid of it because they're going to be too excited about the bull market going up, going up, going up. And I'll tell you what, me personally, I ain't listening to anybody on any of these channels or any of these people that you hear on there. They're real famous, like the super famous ones. Well, the ones you see on Alex Jones and stuff. I ain't listening to any of those guys at all. Forget about them, because I think what they're just talk. But I found this article very, very interesting. With me, I'm paying attention to this because this was that 1.80 threshold when silver outperforms gold by that much. Gives you selling points. And you're looking back here, and was that the last couple months of 79 was when the price of silver tripled. So if you look actually at statistics for a given year in 1979, the average price of silver was 22. So I mean, I don't know how many people are aware of that or what, but it explodes right to the top and it crashes right down fast. See, I don't know if this metal's, the case of the currency totally falling apart, but I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen. They're going to put some other currency out there. They're not going to make the whole world just fall apart and bring us back to the Stone Age. I don't buy that, but it alludes to the fact that it was $50 on an intraday basis. I knew that, but it was only really high. It really only took off for a couple months. It was taken off in 1979. In this period right here, it was in the fall of 1979. It started dipping. Some people started thinking it was moving back down into the $16 to $18 range. And then people were thinking that was the end of the bull run for silver. Then it shot up real fast. It tripled. But it really didn't, you really couldn't get $50, $47, $49 in a coin shop. It was more like under $40. That's the other thing too. So there's a very short window of opportunity when it hits its high, and it's going to do this junk a couple times before it even hits its high. Now, we might not be that far away from when it does this. I mean, I'm not talking months, but I'm talking about it ain't going to be 3 years down the line. But it's going to, when it does this, they're probably going to reset the system, do something. I don't know what they're going to do. Because if it does this, that's why I can't buy into the theory about it going, maybe it will hit $1,000 an ounce. but it ain't gonna be holding at $1,000 an ounce and staying there. I'll guarantee you that. Industrial demand or not, because I always looked at that thing called demand destruction. Silver is well, it's a very volatile metal, and that's going to be proven in the future too. It says indeed the silver price did take off again at the end of November 1979 on a blistering pace to eventually triple in price in a mere 2 months. That's almost kind of like what it did earlier in 2011. And I should have been reading this back then, because I would have dumped that stuff no problem. I figured it was going to blast through 50, maybe go up to 60. So very few times is it actually triple in price. You know, and actually, if you're looking at the coins, you probably wouldn't have got triple in price, because this was a very brief time during an intraday trade where it really shot up. You had to catch it electronically right on the spot. So I don't think you're ever, you know, this is something to really watch for and to keep things in perspective. So as we came to Monday, the 21st of January, as the silver price closed at $42, having spiked to about $50 during the day, no doubt many were expecting more explosive action on Tuesday, but that was it. That's all that happened. So that's why I'm a little like, I'd rather err a little on the low side than try to, you know, see something way the hell up there in the sky. I don't know if I'd be holding off for $1,000 an ounce. That may not be that may not happen. Silver began to drop over the next few days, and observers were quickly perhaps call this a healthy correction. It wasn't. It was a dying swan routine for silver. So this is something I'm going to look at very carefully, because like the next time silver has this run where it's outperforming gold so much, I'm going to watch that carefully, and I'm in some of the PSLV. I'm going to be selling that in pieces. I'm going to be selling that in pieces. Now I figure it's probably going to be around the next price point. It's going to be 60 something when it really has a hard pullback. That's not really like a total guess or anything like that, but realistically, it really never really goes twice before it has a pullback. And even back in 1979, when it jumped up 3 times like this, that really, a good portion out of that was an intraday trade for one day. So I think things have to be put in perspective, because going for the sky, you know, you could be on the other side of this move downward. So that, you know, I keep, you know, that's one of the things I've been thinking about for quite a while, because you know, you can really get stuck with this junk for quite some time, and if you miss the boat, you miss the boat. So there's a lot of different opinions on silver prices, where it's going to finally end up, and I personally I don't think it's going to hit the 1,000, but I could definitely see well over the 400 or 500, you know. So I'm saying somewhere between those ranges, but it isn't going to be there too long. That's what I'm thinking. I don't think it's going to be there too long. So this was an excellent article. I'll post a link on this if you want to read the whole thing. It was off this site silverseek.com, but it's from some years ago, and gave me a lot of, you know, put things into perspective, because I was kind of getting really suspicious of some of this stuff. But this might tell you some stuff about selling signals. When silver is outperforming gold that much, way too much, and it's going up for like a couple months straight like that, better off dumping it. Like if you dumped your silver back when it was going up super high like that, and you got it, you dumped it at 44, and you're like, oh god, it's going up to 45, 46, 47. Oh, guess what? It pulled back and it went down to like 30, right? So I think I'm gonna be watching this stuff a lot more. So I'm gonna probably trade in and out on it. You know, that's not what you're supposed to do, but you know what? That's what I'm doing, because you know, I'm looking back at palladium. I've been reading some articles about you know, there's more word coming out. I mean, I'm sure all these traders are reading the same thing I'm reading about the Russian stockpiles being depleted, and that there's going to be a shortfall for this year. And the Japanese automotive production is going to be on harder and harder this year because it's finally back in full production. They fixed the damage from the tsunami. And China's coming out of car production and all the things I've been reading. So, I've been looking at this metal, palladium, having some really good gains in the last several days, while, the rest of the metals have been staying pretty flat. So, but you got to watch this one probably worse than silver, because this one, I'm not sure if the Russian stockpiles are depleted. Those guys are devils. The people in Russia, the business guys, they're devils. And that could be a big scam story, because I was reading stuff about palladium all year, how it was short, and then you find out they dumped a whole pile of stuff on the market. But apparently, a lot of people pulled out of ETFs. So somebody knew it was up, So, I'm not sure if the whole stockpiles are through. I mean, those are the stories we read. So I'm even looking at this metal as far as my ETFs. I think it's going to hit that all-time high again. Maybe, maybe close to it. So this gets around 1,000. That's when I'm going to be dumping it. Taking fiat money, I know about the debt situation. I know what's going to happen to currency, but, they could still pull down these prices. And actually, if you got a currency problem, the only thing you really got to really watch go mostly in is the gold more than anything. But even that, nothing's 100% safe. But watch for pullbacks, and I thought this is an extremely good article, because when we're talking about this ultimate price of, say, $600-700, it's not going to last long. It's not going to last long at all. And maybe the coins, you might not be able to get $600-700 from. Maybe it'll be just a little bit less, because that $600 or $700 price point might be lasting for maybe just a couple days electronically. So, if you got all this silver, you're not going to be able to dump it all at once. You're going to have to dump it in pieces. That's the one disadvantage of having physical. You just can't click a button and get it done with. So, I'll post a link on this, because it does say when silver outperforms gold by the silver leverage indicator, the SLI, a tool which enables silver and gold investors to pick out the tops. It says when it outperforms gold by a factor of 1.8 or more, the bull market's in question and about to take a rest, sometimes for a long time. So I should have been wise to that earlier in the year, and I wish I was. And just want to point it out. I don't have too many people listening on this thing, so I know the word ain't going to get out too much anyway. If there was a whole pile of people listening to this, I wouldn't say nothing. Believe me.